My name is Martha, and I am in the Public History Master's Program at the University of West Florida. I initially chose this program because I really enjoy history, and I really was drawn to the idea of bringing history to the public and letting the public know more about history. With my degree, I hope to become a program and budget analyst, preferably within the National Park Service. Within the public history program here, you start off with taking a public history methodology course, which is where you learn to take the traditional history skills and tool sets and then learn how to apply them in a public history setting, learning how to think analytically and critically about situations and come up with solutions in order to solve them. Then you take those tools and skills that you've worked on and then put them into a client-based project. I was part of a group that worked on the Guantanamo Public Memory Project, where we interviewed past residents from Guantanamo and then put that into an exhibit that we then were able to travel to New York and see open with all of the other universities that worked on it with us. In addition to doing the public history and methodology course, you do take a number of traditional history courses to make sure that you are maintaining those traditional history skills. And then you take a number of supportive courses that kind of go towards whatever field you want to specify in within public history. Then at the very end, you do a practicum, which is a 300-hour project where you can travel outside of the university area and you do a 300-hour project that goes into your field where you're once again applying your skills and your tool sets. And then following that, in the following semester, you do about a 200-page report. It's called a practicum report, and then you defend that report within a conference setting here at the university. I'm currently looking into what I want to do for my practicum project, and I've been kind of looking around into a couple of different areas, specifically within governments, smaller governments, municipal and state governments, looking specifically at doing policy or budget research and analysis. My favorite part of the program, and probably everybody's favorite part of the program, is the fact that everybody has a different area of interest that they're going into. We have one person that's going to work with researching for a historical television series. We have another person who wants to be doing historic preservation for a historic African American cemetery. And then there's me, who's looking into doing more of like analyst work. So it's really interesting that we're all going into these different areas, but we're all kind of approaching our situations from the same angle, really. We're coming with the same set of skills and tool sets on looking at the problems. And so we really collaborate with each other and spend a lot of time talking to each other about how we're really coming together with this on different angles, or into different projects. The hardest thing probably that I think me and most of the people here experience is time. We have to really work on being able to manage our time very well. We have a lot to do within our classes, but we also have a lot of side projects that all of us are working on. We have to look into finding our practicum. We have to find that on our own with help from our faculty, but we really have to do a lot of personal research on that in order to find what we want to do. We also need to do a bunch of side projects. We're going to the conference for our area, the National Council on Public History's conference. And so we've done a lot of work on trying to find funding for the students that would like to attend that. And so that just takes up a lot of time, being able to incorporate all of those side things in addition to your classwork and making sure that you're putting yourself into everything. So you just have to really be dedicated to it. The one thing that I wish that somebody probably could have told me beforehand was how much you can do with public history and how many different areas you can go into. It can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes because it's really great, but at the same time, you have to spend a lot of time going through the different fields and then subsets within those fields that you can really delve into. It can definitely be stressful for me to be able to have to go through that, and I wish that I had been told that definitely beforehand. To know that public history isn't just about museums, it's not just about working within archives, there's a lot more to it than what meets the eye. That's definitely something I wish somebody had told me, and that's advice that I would give to somebody else would be to explore as many different areas of public history as possible. Go in, look and see what you can do with it, and then go maybe work in a museum for a little bit. You can do volunteer projects with them fairly easily. I would definitely recommend just going down for a couple of hours and really seeing what they do. Email some people if you're really interested in doing policy. Email some people that work within the government to see exactly what it is they are doing, to see if that's something that you really truly want to do, and try and narrow down your focus before you come into the graduate program. It'll save you a lot of stress and a lot of time in the long run. One final thing to think about would be the fact that in the graduate program you have to commit yourself a lot of time. I know I mentioned that being the hardest thing, but it really is very important. It was a little bit of a surprise to me when I came into the program. I expected it to be more rigorous than my undergraduate program, but it was a little bit of a surprise how much I really had to work to do my classes. For your traditional history courses, you read a book a week, in addition to reading a couple of journal articles or a couple of primary sources, and that's just for one class, and that's just a portion of the workload for the class. So you really do have to do a lot of work to it. It might surprise you when you get in. So that's just definitely something you have to think about.